What is going on, everybody? We're here. We're live. I think I'm also live on Odyssey right now, so we did it. We are dual streaming officially. So that is a good thing. That is a very good thing. What is going on? Good to see everybody. I usually don't stream this early in the morning. Not that it's super early. It's fucking 11 o'clock. I'm usually up and, making videos and stuff like that by now, obviously. But not necessarily streaming. Pretty early stream for me. So it is good to be here with everyone. We're going to see if this works. This is going to fall under fair use. I'm going to be reacting to Alec Baldwin's interview, obviously. So should fall under the fair use guidelines. I'm a little worried, about what ABC might do, but whatever. That's why we're doing over here on the live channel. That is one of the big reasons I am multi-streaming on Odyssey. So if for any reason this does get blocked or whatever, I don't think it will, because we're going to pause. We're going to talk about a lot of this. We're going to do a lot of analysis. So falls completely under fair use. But if it does for any reason have any issues, we do have the backup stream going on Odyssey, which is a great thing. Let me say hello to all you people in the chat. Fair use, baby. That's right, Namans. All right, I did see that. It's gonna, and like I can't connect both things to StreamYard, so I'll have to go back and forth between YouTube and then check on Odyssey to make sure we're good over on Odyssey as well. So please be patient with me. Be patient with me. I've got Trots here. Trots is here in the chat. What's up? Phil is here. K-Dog is here. That guy, Devil-Eyed Elvis, this is the most stupid shit he could have done. If he wasn't the protected class, they'd have him cuffed as soon as this aired. I don't know. I think that it's tough because I think that it's going to be really hard for them to prove, in my opinion, it's going to be really hard for them to prove that even if all the things went down like opposite of what he says, like even if he did pull the trigger, if he did all this stuff, I think they're going to be hard pressed to prove that there was any sort of expectation that could have happened. So I think maybe that's why he feels okay in doing this. But I do think the interview plays really bad for him PR-wise. It's the opposite of what he wanted PR-wise. And we're going to play I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, so it's going to be interesting. That thumbnail, yes. The crocodile tears, Alec Baldwin. Rady is here. Struggled Chewy's here. Epic fail, young lady. Rahesh Taylor's here. Good to see everybody. I see JT Gunter. What's up, man? I sent you an email, I believe. I sent you an email. Josh Lurch for $5. No matter what Alex says, remember he's blaming her for dying in front of him and ruining his life. He kind of is. Not going to lie, he kind of is. He says, I don't want to be the victim, yet a lot of the things he says are kind of the antithesis of that. A2D2's here. John Connors is here. Dr. Dave is here. Hell yes. I put fair use as my name. Well, it's a banner. But yeah, I think I should be able to take it down. Where'd I put it? Yeah, there you go. I've got this ticker here as well. So just to make sure everybody has an understanding of what's going on, we're going to make sure it's very, very clear. Fug U is here. Hello, Fug U. Ben. Jack Dorsey. Good to see you here, Jack. Good to see you here, Jack. And over on Odyssey, we've got Namens, we got Americans, FTW, we've got Eternal Vigilance. Camo Jack, hello from Odyssey. First few portions we've seen of this interview, cringeworthy. Oh boy, the rest ought to be good. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Thank you for the Odyssey gang. Appreciate it, guys. Wherever you guys want to watch, completely fine with me. I want to make this the standard going forward where I dual stream. So, Raj H. What's up, Raj? Subhuman. Keely Chow, full Aussie raid. Thank you. I wanted to make sure I left plenty of time for full Aussie, before I went live. So I'll schedule that at 11 o'clock. So thank you guys. I know they probably got done roasting Seth Rogen. Echo Base is here. What's up, Echo Base? All right. Should we just get into this shit? Now, I had to I had to fuck around a little bit, I ain't gonna lie, to be able to do this, but hopefully it worked in the testing. So,
and that's just basic
okay,
way
good. It is going to work just fine, guys. It's gonna work just fine.
Right? Next.
So we'll pause that while this random ad plays. But we are going to react. We're going to pause a lot. It's going to be fair use. It's going to be commentary, analysis, all these things over this Alec Baldwin interview, which is available on YouTube as well in segments, but I have the entire thing here. So this should be good for us. Eternal Vigilance. Yes, yes, yes. Rhino Rage quit. Why? Because of Seth? Oh, he's already crying. Look at him. All right. Here we go. Real quick. Nerd Cookies for 5. What's up, Nerd Cookies? I just want to say this interview is gross. Okay, I'm already not moving on to nerdy stuff. Thank you, Nerd Cookies. What's up, Black Angus? Oh, yeah, I should. Yeah, I'll do that. I totally forgot about that, Steph. I totally forgot about that. My bad. Boom. There you go. All right. Let's go.
Bang, the gun goes off.
Tonight, the movie star who held that gun.
Hollywood star Alec Baldwin firing a prop gun.
Killed the director of photography, injured the director.
Alec Baldwin speaking exclusively for the first time after that fatal shooting, only to George Stephanopoulos.
The big question, and the one you must have asked yourself 1,000 times, how could this have happened?
We have 2 entries from the movie.
Should be pointed out, since they're not going to talk about it here, George Stephanopoulos and Alec Baldwin are buddies. They're friends. They like hang out in the Hamptons and shit together. Just so everyone knows.
Gun shot. We need help immediately.
The interview, his answers, what everyone's been waiting for.
There's only one question to be resolved. Only one. That is, where did the live round come from?
Do you believe the set was sabotaged?
A movie set of a church for a film called Rust, now surrounded by crime scene tape.
It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
Why did you choose not to check the gun yourself?
And what of Helena Hutchins, the woman whose life was taken?
She was someone who was loved by everyone who worked with and admired.
Now, Alec Baldwin.
This is an actor, ladies and gentlemen, who pretends to be someone else for a living, pretends to have emotions for a living. Just thought we should point that out.
Nothing off limits.
You've described it as a 1 in a trillion shot, and the gun was in your hand. Do you feel guilt? Everybody ready? Phones off?
Phones off. No phones, guys. Look, this is unscripted. We're just going to have a conversation. Fucking piece of shit. Mexican Iron Man for $20. Thank you for your relentless coverage of the Rogan and Disney and Baldwin and all the wackos and weirdos. Let the raging Ryan begin. P.S. I'm picking up my Savage 110 for my ride-on scope today. Yes, dude. Yes, Mexican Iron Man. I'm actually going to a gun show later today as well. So I might be picking up something a little bit later. Thank you, buddy. And thank you guys over on Odyssey as well. See Culture Casino. Is Culture Casino here too? Hell yeah. Comics Division might be here as well. Look at that shit. Hell yeah. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it.
Great. Alec, thank you for doing this. You haven't said much in public since that tragic accident. Why speak out now?
Well, I think that there's a criminal investigation, and that could be a while. There's all kinds of civil litigation, and I felt there were a number of misconceptions, most of it from sources I really wouldn't concern myself about, but a couple that I did concern myself about, where there were these authoritative statements about, this is what happened. The Sheriff's Department hasn't even released a report to the DA yet. The reason I wanted to sit down with you is because I really feel like I can't wait for that process to end in February, March. I mean, I'm not asking them to speed it up for my benefit. That's ridiculous. But I am saying that they're going to do what they need to do. And I wanted to come to talk to you to say that I would go to any lengths to undo what happened. I would go to any lengths to undo what happened.
I think
So what he just said was there's an investigation going on. They haven't even released a report yet, all this stuff. It's so interesting. Isn't that a little bit of a change from what Alec Baldwin said? The only other time we've heard him talk about this is right here, right? I pulled up this roadside interview specifically for this reason. Listen to what he says, why I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it. Let's listen.
Been ordered by the sheriff's department in Santa Fe. I can't answer any questions about the investigation. I can't. It's an active investigation in terms of a woman died. She was my friend. We'll
get into the she was my friend thing. What he just said a month ago, whatever this was, he said, I have been ordered not to say anything by the sheriff's department. It's an open investigation. A woman died. I have been ordered. I can't talk about it. It's interesting how now that's no longer the case. Now he just feels the need to talk about it. So were you ever ordered, Alec Baldwin? I said that was bullshit from the moment it fucking happened. I called that shit out. What is it, Alec Baldwin? Were you lying then? Or are you violating the sheriff department's orders, according to you, now? Literally the first 2 minutes, we were already starting to pick apart his nonsensical bullshit.
big question, and the one you must have asked yourself 1,000 times, how could this have happened?
Well, there's two things I want to say about that. One is that when I talk about this, my concern is that I don't sound like I'm the victim. Because there is a victim. There's a woman who died. And my friend got shot. He's my friend. And she was a new friend. I met her and we worked together on some of the mapping out of what we're going to do on the film.
Oh.
Which, you know, in the movie terms, if
Oh,
you go make
a new friend. Well, see, when he said she was my friend, we went out to dinner, all these things. It seemed like he had known her for quite some time, didn't it? Maybe it'll be revealed in this interview just how well they actually knew each other, what a new friend means, and how long they had known each other.
a movie with Scorsese, you and the DP don't sit down and they solicit your ideas of how to make the film. You know what I mean? In the case of Helena, we sat down collaboratively and talked a lot about what we wanted to do in that a precious amount of time we had. But I want to make sure that I don't come across like I'm the victim, because we have two victims here. And the second thing is that all of what happened on that day leading up to this event was precipitated on one idea, and that is that Helena and I had something profound in common. And that is we both assumed the gun was empty, other than those, dummy rounds.
I want to get into more detail.
Bro, I don't want to appear to be the victim here. I don't want to make that happen. I don't want anyone to think that I am a victim. There's a victim here. We know her name, Helena Hutchins. But I did just want to point out that me and the victim have something in common. We had no idea this tragic accident would happen. Dude, this is not the way to fucking garner sympathy. It's really not.
Detail on the day in a minute, but let's take a step back. What was it that drew you to this project in the first place, to Rust?
I'd worked on a project with Joel before.
Joel Souza, the director.
Right. He did this movie, Crown Vic, that I produced. And Joel and I stayed in touch. We're friends, and I loved Rust. He said, I want to send you this. And I read it, and I said, I love it. I love it.
Rust, a low-budget Western, tells the story of an aging outlaw on the run with his young grandson. Baldwin, the film's star, is also one of the producers.
I do think that
very excited.
He was talking about Joel
so
Souza there.
Finally got this made, because every
I think that's what he was saying.
Independent film has many false starts. You know what I mean? And when it finally goes, you feel like a plane. When you finally get some lift under your wings, it's very, very gratifying. I am a purely creative producer. My authorities as a producer are casting and script, which are actually married to the role of being a lead actor in a film.
So you're not the kind of producer who's looking at the line item of each budget.
No. There are basically two types of producers who are really in charge of production. People that raise the money and the people who spend the money. My consultations or approvals were completely about casting and about the script. I don't hire anybody in the crew.
Not even the cinematographer, no one?
No, but he will apprise me of what he's doing. And he'll say to me, I got Helena Hutchins to be the DP. I said, how do you feel about that? Are you excited? I'm very excited. She's wonderful.
What did you know about Helena Hutchins before?
So all right, it's weird that I want to go back to when he's like, no, because it was You're not involved in hiring any of these people or anything like that. No. Well, someone tells me who they're thinking about hiring, and I give them my feedback on that. That sounds like you're at least somewhat involved.
In charge of production, people that raise the money and the people who spend the money. My consultations or approvals were completely about casting and about the script. I don't hire anybody in the crew. I don't.
Not even the cinematographer, no one.
No, but he will apprise me of what he's doing. And he'll say to me, I got Helena Hutchins to be the DP. I said, how do you feel about that? Are you excited? I'm very excited. She's wonderful.
What did you know about Helena Hutchins before she started working on this?
I knew nothing about her until Joel said to me, I got her. She was fantastic.
Helena Hutchins, the talented
didn't know
cinematographer
her.
praised by many in the industry, was a trailblazer in the field historically dominated by men.
Make sure we don't see people walking around like what?
Listen, Helena Hutchins had an awesome career. I don't know why you need to throw it historically dominated by men. That has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with her as a person or whatever. She's an innocent person in this entire thing. You don't need to throw that stuff in there. Real quick, super chat from Mazit Wizard. Taking responsibility was supposed to be Hollywood's strong suit. I take responsibility. There's no way they're lying, right? Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Mazit Wizard. And my nerdy home with a little, what is that thing? That is a little super sticker. It's a person tossing a coin up over on Odyssey. Thank you very much, Steph. I think that's $1. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. And also, he did also say that I didn't know anything about her. Keep that in mind when we go back to this roadside interview when he's trying to play the victim. She was my friend. She was my friend. I knew her. Did you?
The Ukrainian-born cinematographer quickly gelled with Baldwin.
The people who watched The Daily said that her work was beautiful. She was someone who was loved by everyone who worked with and liked by everyone who worked with and admired.
Bro. Listen, we had a lot of people talk about like Kyle Rittenhouse, thinking Kyle Rittenhouse fake tears when he was like literally like fucking breaking down. Let's watch Alec Baldwin again. I want to watch Alec Baldwin. He like, as he starts to pretend to cry, he like puts his hand up to like, forgive me. Like it is so fucking rehearsed and so artificial in my opinion. Watch this shit.
And liked by everyone who worked with and admired.
Let me cover my face so you can't actually see my face when I'm crying. And I won't actually have tears in my eyes. This is Hollywood, bro.
I'm sorry.
This is Hollywood, bro.
But admired by everybody who worked with her.
Rust's 21-day production began filming on October 6th at the Bonanza Creek Ranch, just outside Santa Fe, New Mexico. The ranch has long been a favorite location for filming westerns.
I actually really like the 310 to Yuma remake.
Things have a way of escalating out here in the West, with one thing leading to another.
The day that I flew there, they've been shooting for a week already. I come the following week on the 11th. That night of the 11th, I had dinner with Helena and Joel. And we talked about some of the compositions I was thinking of to...
That was the first time you met?
First time I met Helena, yeah.
What was your first impression?
So the first time I met her was when I flew in. What did he say? October 11th? I believe somewhere around there. I think what he said, a couple days into production. So like a week before this happened. A week.
When I met her, I knew she had that spark. I knew she had that flint to her, that she was going to get that day's work done and get the shots that she wanted. She was very focused.
She had a vision for the film?
She was very focused. We had a discussion about compositions of shots in which you were shooting these beautiful tableaus of the West. She had that intensity. Every day you went to work, she would say, good morning, how are you? How was your evening? Boom, it was small talk, go. We weren't going to hang out and chit chat or whatever. She knew that the clock was the enemy and we have to move forward.
Once on set.
Just to be clear, this man has said, she was my friend. She was my friend a couple weeks ago, a month ago or whatever. Now he's saying I didn't meet her until about a week before this happened. Oh, and by the way, whenever we talked, we never talked about anything. It was small talk because everyone was in such a rush. But she's my friend. She's my friend. Got it.
Set, Baldwin posts this video.
I want to say I look at myself in the reflection of this, and I'm really kind of appalled. It's appalling. But we're here shooting the film. We start tomorrow, and no, I'm not playing Santa Claus. On the 12th, I had a safety demonstration with Hannah Reed, the armorer.
24-year-old Hannah Gutierrez Reed, seen here in photos by the DailyMail.com, was hired as the film's armorer.
Terrible
in charge
picture.
of all weapons on set. The daughter of a famous Hollywood armorer, Russ was only her second film in this role. She spoke to the Voices of the West podcast about working as lead armorer for her first film before Rust.
I was really nervous about it at first, and I almost didn't take the job because I wasn't sure if I was ready, but doing it, it went really smoothly.
We spent an hour and a half shooting the pistol, her giving me all her safety instructions.
Did you think
What?
she was up to the job?
I assumed because she was there.
Hold on, I gotta listen to that again. I've seen bits and pieces. I haven't sat here and watched this entire thing, so.
Went really smoothly.
We spent an hour and a half shooting the pistol, her giving me all her.
We spent an hour and a half shooting the pistol? Now, when I hear someone say that, like, if I was talking about getting trained on a movie set, how to handle a weapon or doing anything like that, I wouldn't say we spent an hour shooting with the pistol. Am I crazy? Am I crazy by saying that? Doesn't that sound like he's fucking actually shooting shit? Even if I was firing blanks, I guess maybe you could classify some of that as shooting, but an hour and a half of that? We heard very early on in this rumors about there being potential live rounds. A lot of people have since tried to deny that. We know that that's the case, but you can't deny there were reports of people using these weapons to go plinking and things like that. Bro, I don't know if that's a Freudian slip. I don't know what that is, but we spent an hour and a half shooting the pistol. Oof. That does not sound good. That does not sound good. And you can definitely tell they're going to be pushing blame onto Hannah Gutierrez Reed in a certain way in this. That's again, this entire interview is to shift blame from Alec Baldwin to other people.
Her safety instructions.
Did you think she was up to the job?
I assumed because she was there and she was hired, she was up for the job.
And nothing she did raised any red flags with you?
No.
Okay. This training course you do, what did she tell you?
She said things like, remember, this is a blank round, so you have to create the discharge yourself because there's no projectile. So if you shot the gun, you go bang. When we roll the camera, you got to go bang and have the gun snap back. You have to create that. She would give you little tips about firing, and she'd say to you, when we're done, point the gun down. When we're done, you give the gun to me or to Halls, only those two people.
Dave Halls was Rust's assistant director,
There you go.
also known as the first AD. Seen here in this IMDb photo. He was responsible
Thanks
for
for
keeping the production
specifying
on
that it's from
schedule.
IMDb. Who
Sometimes
the
we
fuck
would be
cares?
on a set that was a very, very cramped set, and they wanted people in that room on an as-needed basis. But if I'm holding the gun and they say cut, I then hand the gun to Halls if she's not there.
Yeah, why Hall's not Hannah? Some people have said that only the armorer should be handling it.
No. That's inaccurate. Meaning in the protocols of.
That's another. I don't. It was second or third time we've heard like kind of a softball setup question from Stephanopoulos, and then Baldwin. No.
The business, meaning Hannah would to hand me the gun 99% of the time, whatever, the preponderance of the time. But when we would say cut, if Hannah was away from the set, I would hand Halls the gun.
Hannah Gutierrez.
Hold on. I want to back this up. He asked the question. Some people have said that that's very strange that you should only be handing the gun to the armorer. Alec, no. Well, 99.99999% of the time that's true, but in this case, well, doesn't it sound like that's a little bit different than what's normally occurring then? Handing the gun to Halls? Let's hear it again.
People have said that only the armorer should be handling it.
No. That's inaccurate. Meaning in the protocols of the business, meaning Hannah would to hand me the gun 99% of the time, whatever, the preponderance of the time. But when we would say cut, if Hannah was away from the set, I would hand Halls the gun.
Hannah Gutierrez-Reed had a dual role on set, armorer, and she was also the assistant prop master for the film. One of the things her attorney has said is that she was hired for 2 positions on the film and therefore was stretched in an inappropriate way. Did she raise any of those concerns with you?
No, I assume that everyone who's shooting a lower budget film is stretched, myself included. And I got no complaints from her or the prop department. I'm not sitting there when I'm getting dressed and ready to go do a scene saying, oh my God, the prop woman seemed very harried today. I didn't get a sense of that from any of the people on the film. The first time I heard that there was any problem with anybody in the crew of the film was when Luber said, well, we have some issues here.
Lane Looper, the first camera.
All right, real quick. I guess the Odyssey stream is, I don't know, down, I guess. Let's see. I don't really know why that would be the case. Shouldn't have any, unless it's just an Odyssey problem, but I guess that wouldn't be super uncommon for Odyssey. But I mean, I am actively streaming there and I don't have any problems. They wouldn't take it down for copyright. That's not a thing they would do. So I have to assume it was an issue with Odyssey itself. But let's catch up with a couple super chats. We'll see if I don't know how we can get that back up, but we'll see if we can do something here. Lulu Blue, $5 super sticker. Keep it up. Thank you very much, Lulu. Appreciate you. Black Angus for $2. They mentioned whamming to help Baldwin's perception, probably to I don't know, to make it seem like she was like, oh, she was a trailblazer, she was a woman, all that stuff. Michael B, Shogun Gaming for, is that 14? Is that Dutch? I don't know exactly what that is, but thank you for the rainbow unicorn. Cold Haterade for 5. The only other thing Alec needed for that disingenuous display of sadness was a tape recorder in his pocket playing the sound of a baby crying. Basically, it does seem extremely, extremely disingenuous. PWPR for 5. Even if he was directed by Hutchinson to point the gun in her direction, he should have said something common, have some common sense. Nice job, Film Actors Guild. And we're getting to that point, I assume, because I've heard those clips, but I haven't heard it in this interview yet. Him talking about why, like, I don't know, him talking about why fucking he pointed the gun at her was because she told him to, which seems ridiculous. Let me see if I can... Yeah, it still says I'm not live right now, but that doesn't make any sense. Let's go to my live here. See, I don't fucking get it. I'm not sure why it stopped, but whatever. Still testing out Odyssey. They need to fix their fucking shit, though, if they want me to use it. Let's keep listening.
Assistant would email production managers a resignation letter later that night, citing safety concerns. Quote, during the filming of gunfights on this job, things are often played very fast and loose. So far, there have been 2 accidental weapons discharges. He also wrote about concerns about reasonable rest and housing for local crew with long commutes to the set.
When he quit, now the day before that happened, we wrapped. And he came up to me and he said, thank you for the position you've taken on behalf of IATSE and the union on social media. I said, my pleasure.
This photo, posted by Helena, showed the cast and crew in solidarity with IATSE, the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, which had been on the verge of a strike. And Alec posted this on Instagram.
And I want to say to the people in IATSE, do what you need to do. You want to go on strike? Go on strike. Because I'll tell you something about the executives. They don't give a about you. He said, because we have some issues here. I said, such as, and he said, my men need a better hotel room. There was no mention of safety issues.
He didn't say anything about the accidental discharges on set?
He didn't say anything about anything. He goes, my men need better hotel rooms. I said, well, we're leaving, we're wrapping. Will you be here tomorrow? He said, yes. Because what I was about to do, which I've done on any number of films and TV projects, was to give more of my salary back to the production to pay for X. And I was about to say to him, let me know what it would be to B&B you guys in a house that's closer to how we can address your problem. I will be happy to contribute to that. The next day they were gone.
So you had
So out of the kindness of my own heart, all right? Out of the kindness of my own heart, I offered to pay for them to have better housing. I was going to take money away from myself to have them have better housing after they came and asked for something, but it didn't matter. The next day they just left. Does that make any sense to you? If someone comes and says, hey, we need better lodging, and someone offers to rectify the scenario and then they leave, does that make sense? Not to me. Guess to Alec Baldwin it does.
no sense from anyone on the set that people had been stretched to the point where safety was compromised.
No. I never heard one word about that. None.
Rush producers told ABC News Mr. Looper's allegations around budget and safety are patently false, which is not surprising, considering his job was to be a camera operator, and he had absolutely nothing to do with or knowledge of safety protocols or budgets. Safety is always the #1 priority on our films.
When people say cutting costs, I don't say this with any judgment or any cynicism. Spielberg wants to save money. Tom Cruise wants to save money. Everybody who makes movies has a responsibility not to be reckless and careless with the money that you're given. We know those are men who make movies that cost $205 million. And I'm making movies that cost $5 million or
The question, though, is were costs being cut at the expense of safety and security?
In my opinion, no, because I did not observe any safety or security issues at all in the time I was there.
Thursday.
And it's not just that one camera operator. There were several people that talked about it, whether they put it out on social media or just put it out to people that they know about feeling unsafe on set, specifically about feeling unsafe. Helena had a conversation with someone who was worried about that. Literally, there's a quote from someone. They said someone's going to die on this set. And then the next day it happened. Patrick T for $5. Imagine what happens if hothead Alec Baldwin gets a cross-examination in court. Oof. I don't think anything will ever get to that. I think it'll just be a settlement whenever the time comes for that personally. But I guess we'll see.
Thursday, October 21st. Baldwin posts a photo of himself in costume on Instagram. Back to in person at the office. Blimey, it's exhausting. That morning, Looper and 6 other crew members walked off the set. Filming continued with a replacement camera crew. Scene 118 in the church was slated for after lunch.
Everybody there was having a positive experience. People who are watching this show, people who back home, you have no idea how unique an environment a motion picture set is. It's kind of, there's an instant familiarity. The amount of care, these are people who are professionals who have really good jobs in a field they love. And I looked at all these people and I see how hard they work. They're so hardworking and they're so conscientious. And you're around people and you're part of one of the great collaborative processes in the world, movie making. Everyone moving like a watch to get everything done. And everyone.
I love the little guy. I love the little guy so much I'm crying just talking about them doing their jobs.
You kind of, I don't make that many movies anymore because movie making demanded that I travel and I didn't want to leave my family. All these movies I made, I stayed home. I didn't want to go. If I went away for a week. To leave my family for 4 weeks and go shoot this movie, that was a big deal. And I'm sitting on this pew. And so help me God. I sat on that pew right before they called lunch. And I said, this movie has made me love making movies again. Because I used to love to make movies. I did. You know, I worked with people once. I was going to do the movie The Edge. And they called me and said they got Tony Hawk.
Just real quick, in the chat. In the chat, can I do fucking polls? Can I do a poll? Hold on. Do you believe Alec Baldwin Alec Baldwin's tears are real? I want to see that poll because I don't at all in any way. So I don't know. I don't know about that. Let's keep going.
Optimus to do the film. What do you make of it?
Yeah, look, if we're here.
And I started sobbing. I just started sobbing because I thought, oh God, I'm gonna have a chance to work with this guy. Any chance you can go easy on me? When they cast me in It's Complicated with Meryl, I thought, I'm gonna get to go make a movie with her. You know, sorry. You know, people, they have their dreams. No matter how old you are, you have your dreams of people you want to work with. And this movie made me love making movies again. I really thought we were onto something.
Next.
She goes down. I thought to myself, did she?
Just before we get to this part, because I think we're about to have an ad break. Maybe you'll see if we can have an ad first. Hold on. Because I think we might.
Chime is honest.
Yeah, we're gonna get an ad real quick. But he's crying just talking about himself loving movies. That's what he's crying about right now. He's not crying about a woman being dead. Like, he's crying about reflecting on his own career. That seems fucking weird to me. I guess we'll see. I haven't seen him actually talk about, Helena dying yet, so maybe that'll change a little bit. John Connors over on Streamlabs for $3.89. Let's call this for what it is, a testimony to the public, free of cross-examination. This interview is a prime example of scumbag Hollywood and Access Media complicity. I hope they throw the book at him. Cheers. Thank you, John. Appreciate it, man. And then real quick, Nick the Great for $10. Hey, Ryan, wasn't this piece of shit a prominent producer and also funded this film? It's his responsibility to make sure the right people are hired for this set. The average person would already be facing manslaughter. Potentially, it's a little bit weird. I agree, Nick. The thing is, you would do things on a movie, like, in general, the idea of someone pointing a gun at someone and then whether they actually pulled the trigger, went off or whatever, in real life, we'd be, why the fuck would you ever do that? Whereas in a movie set, they do things that you wouldn't necessarily always do, and there's certain expectations. So I think that's where there is just inherently a difference, but you're not wrong. Like, there is no way this dude would just be allowed to go to Vermont and, like, do all these fucking other things while he's under active investigation. You're 1,000% spot on about that.
It was the 12th day of their 21-day shoot.
That day, I did exactly what I've done every day on that movie.
Shot and killed someone.
Baldwin was preparing for his next scene, a shootout inside this wooden church. Set the scene right before that happened. You're sitting in a pew in the church.
Right.
What's the scene supposed to be?
The scene is the two guys are there who have got me, cornered, and they think I'm shot pretty bad, and I'm kind of wilting, and they have a gun, and the sound outside distracts them, and I then draw the gun, cross-draw out of my holster, pull the gun up like that, and start to cock the pistol, cut. I'm handed a gun, and someone declares, they said, this is a cold gun.
Dave Halls?
The first AD. In my years on the sets of film, hot gun meant that there was a charge in there, and cold gun meant there was nothing in there. When he's saying this is a cold gun, what he's saying to everybody on the set is, you can relax. The gun is empty.
That's what cold gun means.
Well, cold gun means there's no charge in there. There could be dummy rounds.
A dummy round looks like a real bullet, but is completely inert. It contains no explosive charge. And you were rehearsing that scene.
This is the last picture, I do believe. This is the last picture anyone took of Helena, from my understanding, on set. So,
in an actual rehearsal, there's some disagreement about that, whether it was a formal rehearsal at that time.
This is a marking rehearsal where I'm going to show her. She's standing next to the camera. She's like this. You're me. She's got a monitor here. The camera is here filming that way. She takes a monitor that is his monitor, the operator, and turns it toward her. It swivels, and she says to me, "Hold the gun lower. Go to your right. Okay, right there. All right, do that. Now show it a little bit lower." And she's getting me to position the gun. Everything is in her direction. She's guiding me through how she wants me to hold the gun for this angle. And I draw the gun out and I find a mark. I draw the gun out, I find a cut. And what's really urgent is the gun wasn't meant to be fired in that angle.
So if you're shooting directly into the camera lens, you're not aiming.
I'm not shooting into the camera lens. I'm shooting just off.
Just off.
Right, in her direction. I'm holding the gun where she told me to hold it, which ended up being aimed right in below her armpit, was what I was told. I don't know. This was a...
Even if all that is true and like that's what was happening, it seems gross. It seems a little bit gross to be like, well, I was only aiming at her because that's what she told me. She's the one who had me aim at her. It just seems a little gross to me, to be honest with you.
A completely incidental shot, an angle that may not have ended up in the film at all. But we kept doing this, and so then I said to her, "Now in this scene, I'm going to cock the gun."
Now, what I would anticipate, so if we kind of take him at face value, which we probably shouldn't, but if we take him at face value and she is guiding him on where to point the gun, she's probably looking into the camera, like he said, and is saying where he wants the shot. Probably not realizing that as she's directing him, he ends up pointing it right at her. Alec would be the one to know that. He would be the one to see that happening in real time. No, not her if she's focused on the camera and just seeing how it lines up in the camera. It's very gross and disingenuous.
This was a completely incidental shot, an angle that may not have ended up in the film at all. But we kept doing this, and so then I said to her, "Now in this scene, I'm going to cock the gun." And I said, "Do you want to see that?" And she said, "Yes." So I take the gun and I start to cock the gun. I'm not going to pull the trigger. I said, "Do you see that?" She goes, "Well, just cheat it down and tilt it down a little bit like that." And I cock the gun. I go, "Can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see that?" And she says, and then I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off. I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off.
What?
That was the moment the gun went off. Yeah, that was the moment the gun went off.
It wasn't in the script.
All right, I need to hear that scenario again. So if he did fully cock the gun, right? If you fully cock a gun, the only way you're going to be able to uncock that gun is by pulling the trigger in some semblance. When you were talking about these fucking single action revolvers, right? And like actually the way you do uncock a revolver like that would be to hold your finger on the hammer, put your finger on the trigger, slowly release the hammer till it's almost, back in normal place, then let go of the trigger and rest the hammer back in place. Let's listen again. We got to hear that again.
For the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I let go of the hammer. Cheat it down and tilt it down a little bit. Now in this scene, I'm going to cock the gun. And I said, "Do you want to see that?" And she said, "Yes." So I take the gun and I start to cock the gun. I'm not going to pull the trigger. I said, "Do you see that?" She goes, "Well, just cheat it down and tilt it down a little bit like that." And I cock the gun. I go, "Can you see that? Can you?"
He said, "I cocked the gun." So I saw someone said he didn't say, it locked. He did say, "I started to cock it." And then the next time he says, "I cocked the gun."
See that? Can you see that? And she says, and then I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off.
And the gun goes off.
And the gun goes off.
At the moment. The decisive
That was the moment the gun went off. Yeah, that was the moment the gun went off.
It wasn't in the script.
Now, for what he's saying, now hearing this, because listen, these kind of old style single action revolvers like this era, they are more prone to an inadvertent discharge than a lot of other styles of weapons. Specifically because the firing pin, when the hammer's down, the firing pin is like resting right there. And if you were to say drop the gun or impact to the gun, something like that, that could happen. However, I do believe there should be, right? There should be quarter and half cock positions that would not allow that gun, like once they get to that position, it wouldn't allow it to just fall forward. Because if you were able to pull the hammer way back to near cock position and then accidentally let it go or it slips or something like that, in that case, it would be really easy for something like this to happen. For what he's saying happened to actually happen, you would need a severe mechanical failure of that weapon, which should be very easy for the police to look at and prove. I don't know. Let's listen one more time.
I'm not going to pull the trigger. I said, do you see that? She goes, well, just cheat it down and tilt it down a little bit like that. And I cock the gun. I go, can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see that? And she says, and then I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off. I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off.
At the moment.
You could, like, wish I had my fake Alec Baldwin gun. I don't know where it's at, though. But you could, in theory, pull it less than a quarter back and then let it go. That shouldn't be enough to actually, to set off a round. But I don't, that's not the way he's saying. I think he pulled the trigger to uncock the gun. That's what I think.
Moment. The decisive
That was the
moment.
moment the gun went off. Yeah, that was the moment the gun went off.
It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at
No,
them and pull a trigger at them. Never.
That's a tell for Alec Baldwin, I think. We have heard him specifically mislead and lie every time he said, no. Go back in this stream and watch it. I think that's a tell.
No, that was the training that I had. You don't point a gun at me and pull the trigger. On day one of my instruction in this business, people said to me, never take a gun and go click, 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 because even though it's incremental, you damage the firing pin on the gun if you do that. Don't do that.
And Hall's attorney told ABC News that he was watching and agrees that Alec did not pull the trigger and that his finger was outside the trigger guard. So you have this Colt 45, you just pull.
Yes, the other person, one of the other people that's getting sued for tens of millions of dollars is siding with Alec to try to protect himself. Shocking how that happens.
Hold.
The hammer as far back as I could without cocking the actual
And you're
gun.
holding onto the hammer.
I'm holding that. I'm just showing. I go, how about that? Does that work? Do you see that? Do you see that? She goes, yeah, that's good. I let go of the hammer. Bang, the gun goes off.
There it
Everyone
is.
is horrified. They're shocked. It's loud. They don't have their earplugs in. No one was. The gun was supposed to be empty. I was told I was handed an empty gun. If there were cosmetic rounds, nothing with a charge at all. A flash round, nothing. She goes down. I thought to myself, did she faint? The notion that there was a live round in that gun did not dawn on me till probably 45 minutes to an hour later.
45 minutes to an hour.
Well, she's laying there and I go, did she hit it by wadding? Was there a blank? Sometimes those blank rounds have a wadding inside that packs, it's like a cloth that packs the gunpowder. And sometimes wadding comes out and can hit people and it can feel like a little bit of a poke. But no.
So this motherfucker, make sure I'm understanding what he's fucking saying. This motherfucker, after he shot her, after the gun went off, she goes down. And he didn't realize really what happened for 45 minutes to an hour after. Let's back it up a little. Real quick, Rady for $2. Should have put an onion in the thumbnail too. Yeah, probably should have. My Nerdy Home for $5. If he's genuine, he'd be crying about Hutchins, but he's crying and talking about himself because in his mind, he's the victim. He's upset that this happened to him. I agree, Steph. Nick the Great for $5. Alex should have borrowed the tears from Herb Street breaking down on ESPN of a Rittenhouse. It'd be more believable, maybe. Both of them are pieces of shit. They are absolute piles of dog shit.
To be empty. I was told I was handed an empty gun. If there were cosmetic rounds, nothing with a charge at all. A flash round, nothing. She goes down. I thought to myself, did she faint? The notion that there was a live round in that gun did not dawn on me till probably 45 minutes to an hour later.
45 minutes to an hour.
Well, she's laying there and I go, did she hit it by wadding? Was there a blank? Sometimes those blank rounds have a wadding inside that packs, it's like a cloth that packs the gunpowder. And sometimes wadding comes out and can hit people and it can feel like a little bit of a poke. But no one could understand, did she have a heart attack? Because remember, the idea.
And she did say, or he did say that it was a cold gun, meaning no charge, blanks or live. It should have been just dummies. Someone in the chat pointed out, like, if you were like the gun went off, what would you assume was in there, right? It shouldn't have been a blank in there. So you should have had a lot of shit going through your mind when that happened.
The idea that someone put a live bullet in the gun was not even in reality.
Did you go up to her? Or did you back away?
I went up to her and then we were told to get out of the building. We were forced to get out of the building. The medics came in. I mean, I stood over her for 60 seconds and she just lay there kind of in shock.
Was she conscious?
My recollection is yes.
So she fainted, but she...
Of your emergency.
She fainted, but she was conscious. What the fuck? This dude is lying to everyone. Everyone. Even in this fucking highly edited and dramatized interview, they can't keep his lies straight.
We need an ambulance out at Bonanza Creek Ranch right now. We've had 2 people shot on a movie set accidentally. I'll connect you with medical dispatch. Don't hang up.
Director Joel Souza is also wounded. His shoulder hit by the same bullet that traveled through.
There's somebody else that's hurt too.
When she went down, he went down and he was screaming really loudly. And I thought, what is he screaming? What happened?
So was it loaded with a real bullet or one?
What the fuck? It's for real. Dude. Okay. If she goes down and you're really that fucking retarded that you don't understand what happened, I guess maybe I'll just say you're fucking retarded. But no, not only her, but the person standing directly behind her is falling down and screaming. You can't just excuse that away as, oh, I thought she fainted. Oh, dude. Alec Baldwin is a fucking liar.
I cannot tell you that. Okay. We have 2 injuries from the movie gun shot. Okay. We're getting them out there already. Just stay on the phone with me. Thank you.
Within 15 minutes or 20 minutes after that, the police arrived and took the church set and put the crime tape around it, the yellow tape, and forced us all to the perimeters of the parking area where we sat and waited. She was in the church, and she was not taken out of the church for quite a while.
In the aftermath, there was chaos and confusion.
But nobody told you what happened?
No. It wasn't until I was in the police station. Hours later, I mean, it was like seeing aliens. It was utter disbelief over the idea. It was unacceptable, the idea that it was a live round. And finally, one of the police officers at the conclusion of my interview, I was there for like an hour and a half or so, she takes her phone and she slides it across to me. She says, that's what came out of Joel's shoulder, a .45 caliber slug. It was a real bullet.
Had you known that Joel had been hit?
No one had any idea until that police officer, that sheriff's officer said to me, this is the slug, .45 caliber slug they took out of Joel's arm. And then the kind of insanity-inducing agony of thinking that someone put a live bullet in the gun.
That is going to be the focus. Someone put a bullet in this gun. Somehow a bullet ended up in this gun. We need to find out how a bullet ended up in this gun. Nothing about himself or his actions throughout this entire thing. That's going to be the focus going forward if I had to bet. It's going to be a fucking ad. Subaru. All right, Subaru. Nick the Great for $5. Alex should have had King Flop send him lemonades. We all know that's King Crybaby's favorite candy. Thank you, Nick the Great. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Michael Amato for $20. Thank you for the $20 super chat, Michael. Let's not forget, Alec has been in the acting sphere for 4 decades, and this entire stage interview is just another movie script. And Snuffleupagus on ABC are in on it. Don't forget he worked for ABC on that half-ass game show. Well, he knows George Stephanopoulos. He knows him. Like, they're friends. That's why he's doing this interview with him. But thank you very much, Michael, for the $20 super chat. I think we're still down over on Odyssey. I don't really know. Maybe I'll have to DM them or something later. Oh, wait. No, we're back up. We're back up with it? Thing. That's going to be the focus going forward. If we are. We're back up over on Odyssey. $20 super chat. I think we're still down over on Odyssey. I don't really know. All right, so it was just a problem with Odyssey, it looks like. But it looks like it's all fixed, so. Oh, wait. No, we're back up. Perfect, perfect, perfect. You guys can probably hear my echo there as I had that on. I just wanted to make sure the sound was working. Hell yes. It looks like our poll, the no's have it, 97%. Only 3% of people believe Alec Baldwin. Conveniently enough for Alec Baldwin, that's the same percentage of people that like Seth Rogen's Santa Inc. It's crazy how that works. They must be the exact same fucking people.
Tonight, breaking news.
A fatal shooting on the set of Alec Baldwin's new movie in New Mexico.
Something went horribly wrong here in Santa Fe.
We've all seen that picture of you off the set in that hour or so after the gun went off. What were you doing? What was going through your mind?
At the end of, she was laying there, and she was there for a while. I was amazed at how long they didn't get her in a car and get her up, but they waited and a helicopter came. And by the time the helicopter took off with her and literally lifted off, we were all glued to that process outside. When she finally left, I don't know how long it was she was there, 30 minutes, 40 minutes? It seemed like a very long time. But they kept saying, well, she's stable. Like nobody, just as you disbelieved that there was a live round in the gun, you disbelieved that this was going to be a fatal accident.
So you didn't know exactly how serious it was?
At the very end of my interview with the sheriff's department, they said to me, we regret to tell you that she didn't make it, she died. They told me right then and there. And that's when I went in the parking lot and called my wife to talk to my wife.
Shock and grief. Helena's husband, Matthew, posted a tribute to Helena. Helena inspired us all with her passion and vision, and her legacy is too meaningful to encapsulate in words. Our loss is enormous.
When this happened, her husband comes to town. Her husband, Matthew.
Listen, he should be crying right now. He should be crying right now. Just like he was when he was talking about the impact that this is going to have on his career and he was crying. If he wasn't a fucking sociopath, he'd be crying.
And I met with him and their son. And he was as kind as you could be.
What can you possibly say to him?
I didn't know what to say. He hugged me and he goes, I suppose you and I are going to go through this together, he said. And I thought, well, not as much as you are, you know, and his little boy is there who's 9 years old. I have 6 kids now. I have my older daughter, Ireland, but of the 6 kids that Ilaria and I have, my oldest is 8. I have a 9-month-old baby. And I think to myself, this little boy doesn't have a mother anymore. And I know that in my life, I'm with my kids and I'm doing quite well with my kids. My kids and I are having a great time, right until my wife walks in the room. And then I become invisible. My kids all go and they jump on top of their mother. And this boy doesn't have a mother anymore.
Now he's like, I need to cry.
And there's nothing we can do to bring her back.
I need to make myself cry. I'm an actor.
And I told him, I said, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to convey to you how sorry I am and how I'm willing to do anything I can to cooperate.
In the aftermath of the shooting,
you, Edwin.
A torrent of criticism.
The first thing you do when you pick up that gun is you make sure that it's never pointed at anybody.
He should have known that an AD handing you a gun and saying it's cold isn't the same as several people showing you an empty gun.
If I were holding that gun, I would have checked it.
Now that is what just got said is the real fucking thing. I want to play that back one more time.
You should have known that
this one.
An AD handing you a gun and saying it's cold isn't the same as several people showing you an empty gun.
If I were
that. So when we've heard all across the spectrum of different people talking about this, we have heard a lot of actors come out and say, I always check the gun myself after it's handed me, even if it's proven I always fired at the ground, whatever it may be. We heard George Clooney, heard a lot of people say this. The minimum requirements across Hollywood, it seems, from my understanding, after gathering all this information, hearing from a lot of people, is that the armorer would come up and the armorer having the weapon in her hand would show and prove to the actor and to the cinematography people, the other people that are going to be on set, the people that are going to be shooting this, or any other actor might be involved in a scene, and show them and prove them this is the state of this gun, not just random somebody who walks on set. That seems to be the standard. So that's why that one is important. You're going to hear some people that say, I would have checked all that. Regardless of any of those people, the Hollywood system that they have in place for the vast majority of production is the armor shows you and proves you the status of this gun, not you just take it for granted.
holding that gun, I would have checked it, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm. People said to me, I got countless people online saying, you idiot, you never point a gun at someone. Well, unless you're told it's empty, and it's the director of photography who's instructing you on the angle for a shot we're gonna do. And she and I had this thing in common where we both thought it was empty, and it wasn't. And
that's the second time he said that. We have this in common. We have this in common. We both thought it was empty. Trash.
That's not her responsibility. That's not my responsibility. Whose responsibility is remains to be seen. But
Well, there are some who say you're never supposed to point a gun at anyone on a set, no matter what.
Unless the person is the cinematographer who's directing me where to point the gun for her camera angle. That's exactly what happened. That day, I did exactly what I...
He keeps bringing it back to her directing him. Let's be real. Let's be honest. Right? We have seen movies. We've seen sets where people do point guns at people. There's certain shots that are set up that way. This is Hollywood, right? This is Hollywood. It happens. But the key there is that everyone understands exactly what's going on, and those weapons have been proven to be safe, not only by the armor, but potentially even by the actor themselves. So I have seen a lot of people, even in the chat right now, saying you never point it. This is a movie. We see movies where people are holding guns to people's heads, right? That's actually a thing that is happening on movie sets at times. What I don't like about what Alec Baldwin is saying is that he could explain that, right? He could explain that, but instead what he's choosing to do is saying, well, the person I shot directed me to point it at her. That's the shitty thing. And this wasn't part of what they were supposed to be doing. It was her setting up a shot. It's not like it called for him to be pointing at someone. He wasn't supposed to be pointing it at someone. He was supposed to be pointing it at nothing, and they were supposed to get a shot. And as she directed him, it ended up pointed at her.
I've done every day on that movie.
Which is what?
Which is that there's an armorer there, and that word is new to me. In the years I've been in this
What did you call it?
It was a prop guy or woman. And the prop person would come, and sometimes they would insist on demonstrating for you and the camera
prop
crew.
guy.
They take the gun if it was a contemporary.
Yes, that's what you're supposed to fucking do. This is how you're supposed to do it. You're acknowledging that you know how it's supposed to be done right now.
In the years I've been in this
What did you call it?
It was a prop guy or woman. And the prop person would come, and sometimes they would insist on demonstrating for you and the camera crew. They take the gun, if it was a contemporary gun, they show you the chamber, they show you the clip, they say, the gun is cold. And you look at it and go, thank you. And in the 40 years...
Sometimes that would happen. Not.
He's talking about contemporary guns. He's talking about like traditional like semi-automatic pistols. He's talking about like a fucking Glock or whatever, like a 1911. He called it a clip. It's a fucking magazine, you dumb bitch.
Not all the time.
Well, but no, sometimes they wouldn't demonstrate to me. Some insisted on demonstrating. They would do the demonstration for everybody there right before we rolled the camera or rehearsed. Then there were others who they didn't do that because I trusted them to do the job. And again, this is not just me pointing a gun at somebody else, people pointing guns at me. I've gotten shot and killed in films before where people had to shoot a flash round at me, and I trusted them to do their job. And in the 40 years I've been in this business, all the way up until that day, I never had a problem.
How many times do you think you handled a gun in those 40 years?
Oh, God, I don't know. What amazes me is how many rounds of bullets do you believe have been fired on the sets of movies and TV shows in the last 75 years?
No idea.
Right. It could even be above 1 billion. You've had hundreds and hundreds of millions of bullets fired on the sets of films and TV shows, and 4 or 5 people were killed. Now, those deaths are tragic and abhorrent. And believe me, I would do anything in my power. I would do anything in my power to undo what was done. I don't know how that bullet arrived in that gun. I don't know. But I'm all for doing anything that will take us to a place where this is less likely to happen again.
It's weird that he's saying how many bullets were fired. No, like billions of bullets have not been fired. Billions of blanks have likely been fired. You know, if you're talking about maybe like 1 billion, blanks have probably been fired the past 50 years in Hollywood. No one's disputing that. Those aren't bullets. There's a fucking big difference. There are some movie sets that use live bullets. Active Valor had a lot of live ammunition during the making of that. It was with actual Navy SEALs doing that. However, in other cases, you might use it for effects, but it's all very fucking controlled. It's not super common by any means, but there have been live bullets fired on sets at times over the past several decades. I do agree with one part of what he's saying. This is the first thing we've had like this happen in 30 years. So I actually don't think we need to reinvent the wheel. The people that are like, we're never going to use guns again on set. We're going to do all CGI. Something has to change. No, nothing has to change. It's actually very safe. However, in this case, you didn't follow the fucking safety protocol. So of course something bad happened, but the safety protocols have been extremely effective, 100% effective for 30 years. Until you get some numbnuts TikTok bitch that doesn't know what she's fucking doing, that's going to let these people do whatever she wants, and a producer and actor in Alec Baldwin who wasn't following the rules.
Every single time I'm handed a gun on a set, every time, Mark, they hand me a gun, I look at it, I open it, I show it to the person I'm pointing it to, we show it to the crew. Every single take, you hand it back to the armor when you're done, you do it again. Right. Everyone does it. Everybody knows it.
How do you respond to actors like George Clooney who say that every time they were handed a gun, they checked it themselves?
Well, there were a lot of people who felt it necessary to contribute some comment to the situation, which really didn't help the situation.
You mean it really didn't help me, you cocksucker? Because actually it did help everyone have a much greater understanding of what normal would mean for these actors, what normal would mean on a Hollywood set. It actually helped a lot. It probably didn't help you. Because every time another actor came out and spoke about it, we got another person's experience and realized that what you guys were doing was completely fucked up.
At all. You have if your protocol is you check the gun every time, well, good for you. Good for you. You know what I mean? I probably handled weapons as much as any other actor in films with an average career. Again, shooting or being shot by someone. And in that time, I had a protocol and it never let me down.
Why did you choose in your 40 years not to check the gun yourself?
What I was taught by someone years ago was, as I said, if I took a gun and I popped a clip out of a gun or I manipulated the chamber of a gun, they would take the gun away from me and redo it. The prop person said, don't do that, when I was young. And they'd say, one thing you would need to understand is we don't want the actor to be the last line of defense against a catastrophic breach of safety with the gun. My job, they told me, man or woman, my job is to make sure the gun is safe, and then I hand you the gun and I declare the gun safe. The crew's not relying on you to say that it's safe. They're relying on me to say that it's safe. when that person who was charged with that job handed me the weapon, I trusted them, and I never had a problem.
And this,
but the thing is, that person didn't hand you this weapon. The assistant director handed you this weapon. The person that was in charge, by your own descriptions in this entire thing, the person that should have done that didn't fucking do it. Didn't hand you this gun. So why the fuck would you assume that it was unloaded? Why would you trust it?
this was from the beginning of your career.
From day one. There's one person that's supposed to make sure that what is in the gun is right and that what's wrong is not in the gun. One person has that responsibility to maintain the gun. And
what is the actor's responsibility?
I guess that's a tough question, because the actor's responsibility going this day forward is very different than it was the day before that. Yeah, now I can't. First of all, I can't imagine I'd ever do a movie that had a gun in it again. And I can't. When you say what is the actor's responsibility is to do what the prop armorer tells him to do. And we did not have a problem. I mean, I understand there was an accidental discharge at one point on the set of a blank round, but we did not have a problem for me.
We did not have a problem with safety on this set. Oh, well, actually, there were a couple cases where people didn't realize there were blanks in this gun and they went off. I should talk about that. But for me, there were no problems.
Until that day, everything gets slowed down. Zapruder film-esque here. And the issue with that is there's only one question to be resolved, only one. And that is, where did the live round come from?
Oh, that's it? Don't we have a little bit to figure out in terms of if your story checks out? Because we can check this gun and see if there's any mechanical defects that would lead to you pulling the hammer back and releasing it, just springing forward. That can be checked pretty easily. Oh, shit. Fucking ad. Let's catch up with these super chats, guys. And thank you to my peeps over on Odyssey who are watching as well. Appreciate you guys. Good to see it's still going on. Where am I? Here we go. I got a lot of fucking tabs open where I don't normally have tabs. Stetson's gold for £5. Does Alec Baldwin go to the same school of acting as the guy in the Star Wars hotel commercials? Maybe, Stetson. Maybe. Patrick T for $2. She didn't direct him to pull the hammer. His own words. Well, I disagree. What he asked if she wanted to, what he said is that he asked if she wanted him to cock the gun since he was supposed to do that in the set. So, yeah. Michael Amato for $2. Zero responsibility, blames everyone else. It's infuriating. It really is infuriating. He should not have done this interview. Vicky Love for $5. A liberal deflecting. Why am I not surprised? It's the status quo, Vicky. Status quo. Don Howe for $2. You sit on a throne of lies, Alec Baldwin. Indeed, he does. Indeed, he does. Two Nigerians in MAGA hats were seen putting a bullet in the gun before it was handed to Baldwin. Then a transgender ghost pulled the trigger. Maybe. Maybe. About as believable as any other Jussie Smollett explanation. Oh shit, we're back. I am really happy that Odyssey went back up though. That's good.
The particulars of what happened. The particulars, most importantly, of how a piece of live ammunition ended up on this property. It wasn't supposed to be on the property. It wasn't supposed to be on the truck. It wasn't supposed to be in the kit. It wasn't supposed to be in somebody's fanny pack. A live round is not supposed to be anywhere near the set.
How did a real bullet get on that set?
What I'm saying is that's for a criminal investigation to solve. I have no idea. I have no idea. I take that back. I have some ideas, but that's not for me to say. I've spoken to the sheriff's department multiple times. I don't have anything to hide. You know what I mean? The facts as I see them are what I've stated on the record.
You're not worried about being charged.
The facts are what I've stated on the record. Yeah, obviously. Patrick says, did Ryan read my super chat? I did, Patrick. I did read it. I basically said that, no, he wasn't directed to cock the gun, but he asked if she wanted to see him cock the gun. I don't think she directed him to now release the hammer or anything like that, but
I've been told by people who are in the know in terms of even inside the state that it's highly unlikely I would be charged with anything criminally.
In the aftermath of the shooting,
I wonder who he's talked to. Who from the DA's office or from the government's telling him, don't worry, you won't be charged, Alec. No problem. No problem, Alec. Fucking elites, man. The fucking elites. No, what he said, Patrick, was what he stated was that he said, do you want to see me? I'm supposed to cock the gun in the scene. Do you want to see me cock it? And she said yes. That's what he claimed by his own words.
authorities are investigating how live rounds made it onto the New Mexico set. Earlier this week,
there are, I don't know if they're going to address it. There are reports, and there have been reports from the very beginning that they were plinking, that they were using these weapons to shoot live ammo during off time on set. That would explain how a live round got there, wouldn't it?
a search warrant was executed at an Albuquerque prop house owned by Seth Kenney, who told detectives he was hired to supply Russ with guns, as well as dummy rounds and blanks.
PDQ Arm and Prop supplied the guns, the blank ammunition, and 50 dummy rounds to the show.
Kenney, who asked for his face not to be shown, says he wasn't the film's only provider.
It's not a possibility that they came from PDQ or from myself personally. When we send dummy rounds out, they get individually rattle tested before they get sent out. So if you have a box of 50, you've got to do it 50 times. And then at that point, you know they're safe to send.
Baldwin says he placed his trust in Hannah Gutierrez-Reed. According to that search warrant, the young armorer told investigators she loaded 5 dummy rounds into Baldwin's gun before lunch and a 6th after, when the gun was retrieved from a safe. Gutierrez.
What? I loaded 5 dummy rounds before lunch and then a 6th after. That's a very weird way to decide to do that, isn't it? Why the fuck would you do that?
Reed's attorney has said she has no idea where the live rounds came from. He raised the possibility that someone may have deliberately mixed live rounds in a box of dummies in an act of sabotage.
First of all, you wouldn't bring a live round on the set. But second of all, why do you place that in the box labeled dummies that the armorer is going to be pulling from? Everybody knows they're going to be getting them from there. Why would you
Everybody
do that
knows.
other than to try to cause some incident on the set?
Her attorney.
This is what the attorney is. Her attorneys have come up with this sabotage theory to try to deflect blame from her. And you know what? What are they going to do? That's their client. That's what they're fucking supposed to do.
Has said he believes the set was sabotaged. Do you believe the set was sabotaged?
Well, I didn't believe that Helena was shot and found out that she was shot with a live bullet. So there are things that I never imagined could happen, which turned out to have happened. Do I believe that the set was sabotaged? No, because I can't imagine how that would have been affected. I don't know how somebody would have done that. I mean, in a world I was told in which one person loaded a gun, then another person picked up the gun to bring me the gun. Whatever happened in that preceding us rehearsing and her being killed, whatever happened there, I don't know. But when he made those claims, I thought that's a big swing. That's an enormous charge to make, that someone came and did something. For what purpose? To attack who? To discredit who? To harm me, the production? I mean, that means motive and opportunity. You know, what was their motive in doing that if somebody did that? It's overwhelmingly likely that it was an accident, you know?
The Santa Fe district attorney leading the investigation.
I wasn't sure exactly how he'd handle that. He could have like taken that a long way. And I'm kind of surprised he didn't. Real quick, super chat from Strawman for Aussie 5. He also claimed a ghost did it. So who do we call, female Ghostbusters or Scooby-Doo? Not sure.
Has said she does not believe sabotage is a possibility.
I know that some defense attorneys have come up with conspiracy theories and have used the word.
Looks like that chick from that cooking show.
We do not have any proof.
According to a search warrant, Assistant Director David Halls, seen in this IMDb photo,
Stop fucking saying that's the second time they've showed this picture and said, seen in this IMDb photo. Why the fuck does anyone care if it's an IMDb photo? It's irritating me. You haven't said where the photos are from any other thing, but somehow you got to say it's from his IMDb photo. The fuck?
Investigators Gutierrez Reed opened the firearm used by Baldwin, but Halls could only remember seeing 3 rounds, and that he should have checked all of them but didn't, and couldn't recall if Gutierrez Reed spun the drum.
Jesus.
Halls also told investigators he didn't know there were any live rounds in the firearm, but his attorney has said it wasn't Hall's responsibility to confirm whether the gun was loaded.
Let me just say something else also, by the way, which I think is important, which is that I don't want to see anybody suffer unnecessarily. I feel terrible what's happened to Hannah. I do. I feel horrible what happened to Halls. I do. I mean, this is something where, as far as I'm concerned, someone put, the investigation's going to find out, but someone put a live bullet in a gun, a bullet that wasn't even supposed to be on the property. And this is the thing I hope.
This is a little interesting. Just hearing him talk about this and seeing where he's going. Remember in the immediate aftermath, Alec Baldwin shared several things. Specifically, he shared several stories that blamed the assistant director directly, that put all of the blame on him. And I believe, I can't say with certainty, I'd have to go back and look at all my videos. I'm pretty sure that Alec Baldwin also shared something that placed blame on Hannah Gutierrez Reed. Now, we see that all 3 of them are involved in all these lawsuits. These civil lawsuits, tens of millions of dollars at stake for some of these people, with probably more lawsuits to come. Now, all of a sudden, they seem to be on the same team. All of a sudden, we get an additional statement that we didn't hear initially from Dave Halls, that, he never pulled the trigger. His finger was never on the trigger. Now we have Alec Baldwin being supportive of Halls, being supportive of Hannah Gutierrez Reed, saying that we need to find out who put this gun here, because they understand they're in this together. They're all part of this group. They all need to do everything they can to deflect blame. Isn't that interesting?
That the sheriff's department doesn't give up on, that they follow this to the ends of the earth. Where did that bullet come from? Somebody brought live rounds, plural, onto the set of the film, and one of them ended up in that gun. And if the bullets didn't come on the property, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Now, at the same time, I don't want to see Hannah suffer and Halls suffer and all these people suffer the agony of having to face what they're responsible for, what they did. It makes me sick because, I myself, I'm married, I got 6 kids. I want to just live my life in peace. And I've had all these people say, you're a murderer and you didn't do this and you didn't do that. It's been very tough.
One of your brothers, Daniel, suggested that you've also become a target for your political views. Do you agree with that?
Well, I don't think that anybody has said anything about and has used this as an opportunity other than people you would fully expect to have done that.
Like President Trump?
The former president of the United States said that I'm a wacko or whatever, and I probably shot her and killed her on purpose.
Or loaded the gun.
He said that I did it deliberately. He said he killed her deliberately. And I thought to myself...
To be fair, I believe that Trump said it wouldn't surprise me if he did that, just to be clear.
Just when you think that the things can't get more surreal, here's the former president of the United States making a comment on this tragic situation, which also brings me to 2 civil suits that were filed, which I find odd because those 2 people are lunging toward making sure their suits are filed before the husband files his suit. They couldn't wait until Matthew, on behalf of his son, filed his suit
So you expect Matthew to file a suit?
Oh, but how could it be otherwise? His wife was killed as a result of someone's, I don't want to say negligence. It's not for me to use that word. That's illegal.
I don't want to say negligence because it was me that was fucking negligent. Good catch, Alec. Good catch.
Term, but something happened here that resulted in his wife's death. He's entitled to something as far as I'm concerned. I would be stunned if Matthew, on behalf of his son, did not file some kind of civil suit against the production with its insurers and so forth like that. But
likely to name you. as a producer?
Well, I think that all the producers will be named. It remains to be seen which producers have the responsibility for hiring the people involved.
Oh,
And
yes,
you're
of
convinced
course.
Matthew doesn't blame you in any way for Helena's death?
I can't speak for Matthew. I can't.
Have you
When I met with him, he was there. We went to dinner with his son. We went to the memorial service together. The crew had a little memorial service for her before we left, which was very beautiful and very simple. And I've communicated with him a couple times since then, but I do believe he's gone off in a direction where he's not going to communicate with people at the advice of his lawyer right now.
I tried to save him.
That's Sergei Svetnoy. He's the person who filed the first charge. The script supervisor is the person who, or the first lawsuit. The script supervisor, they'll probably show next, filed the second one. But I did want to talk about what Trump said. This is what Trump said. He's a troubled guy. There's something wrong with him. I've watched him for years. He gets into fistfights with reporters. He's a cuckoo bird. He's a nut job. And usually when there's somebody like that, you know, in my opinion, he had something to do with it. But if nothing else, how do you take a gun and just, whether it's loaded or not, how do you take a gun, point it at someone that's not even in the movie and just point it at this person and pull the trigger and now she's dead? It's weird. Who would take a gun and point it at the cinematographer and pull the trigger? As bad as it may have been kept, meaning, you know, the people that take care of equipment and guns and everything else, but even if it was loaded, and that's a weird thing, maybe he loaded it. That's specifically what he said about Alec Baldwin. Maybe not the most responsible post from President Trump, but yeah, not super surprising, I suppose. This is also, though, coming from Alec Baldwin, who for years has tweeted and implied that police officers intentionally were trying to murder black people in the streets. Yet he's upset when somebody else does the same to him. Not a shock, I suppose.
Whole life.
Serge Svetnoy, the film's chief of lighting, filed the first civil lawsuit against the production company and the crew members who officials say handled the gun, including Alec Baldwin. He alleged they failed to implement appropriate safety standards and measures on the Rust movie production. The second civil suit from script supervisor Mamie Mitchell also alleged there were warning signs of the dangerous conditions that existed on set.
It's Sergei Svetnoy, the double S, and you got, what was the other name of that person? It was a double M name. A lot of alliteration going on there with these lawsuits.
The attorneys for script supervisor Mamie Mitchell, who filed one of the suits,
Mamie Mitchell,
said Mr. Baldwin chose to play Russian roulette when he fired a gun without checking it and without having the armorer do so in his presence. His behavior and that of the producers on Rust was reckless. How do you respond?
There are two people that filed civil suits so far. And one of them walked up to me outside the church, probably within 15 or 20 minutes of the event itself, and put their hand on me and said, "You realize that you have no responsibility for what's happened here, don't you?"
Was this Serge?
No comment. One of those two. And now that person is suing me. Now, again, they're entitled to.
All right. You see what he's trying to do here. Personally, this is what I think. I think that these two people filing lawsuits, I think it's kind of fucking scummy. I think that they are like, oh, I need $15 million because I was traumatized by this experience. Fuck off. Personally, that's my belief of it. But what Alec Baldwin is saying right here, 20 minutes after this happened, when no one had any idea what was going on or anything, and all the things were still falling into place, he said, you don't have no responsibility for this. Even if that's fucking true, who cares? This was like right after it fucking happened, before a lot of this was discovered, before people realized it was a live round. People had no idea what the fuck was going on. You said that yourself. That means nothing. That means fucking nothing.
Change their mind. More importantly, they're entitled to sit down with a lawyer who will convince them to change their mind. Serge, for example, and this is the only thing I'll say about someone specifically, he was her dear friend. He was a very close friend of hers. And yet he's chosen to file his lawsuit in advance of Matthew's suit.
And there's only so much money.
Well, if you get into settlements alone, there's a pool of the insurance money. There's a couple different policies. There's a pool of money that's available that is finite. Now, you could access more money somehow if you sue people individually and find them individually responsible. I just found the filing of the two lawsuits, civil lawsuits, in advance of Matthew filing his lawsuit. I found that to be unsettling.
I don't give a shit.
Sarich that
No,
night
you
told
don't.
ABC News
You don't give a shit about that.
that he did tell Baldwin what happened that day wasn't his fault, but now believes differently, and that the actor should have checked the gun. When we come back,
You felt shock. You felt anger. You felt sadness. Do you feel guilt?
We know his answer to that. We know his answer to that. That's a fucking big fat no. Vicky Love for 5. Even if that was the case, why did you point the gun at someone? You're not allowed to point the gun at the staff. Thank you, Vicky, for $5. Nick the Great for 2. Surprised he didn't blame Trump in the interview. He did talk about him, didn't he? He did talk about him. The Rookie Critic, what's up, man? For $5, watching the stream from the start now. Man, he seems like he's in acting mode. Nice coverage, man. Thank you. Thank you, Rookie Critic. I can't believe we have 500 people here, or almost 500 people. That's crazy. Smash the like button, guys. Let's see if we can break that 500. That'd be really cool. Patrick T for $5. Alec pulled the hammer first, then asked Helena if that was okay. She agreed. She didn't direct him to pull the hammer. Important detail. I guess maybe after this is done, I'll go back and listen to that part. My recollection of what he said was he was saying, well, in this scene, I'm supposed to cock the gun. Do you want me to cock the gun? That's what I believe his verbiage was, but I'll go and look at it again just to verify. But thank you again for the clarification, Patrick. Let's go to Streamlabs really quick. That's all good. No updates on Odyssey. I really don't know how that Odyssey stuff works as far as the crypto and the tips and stuff like that. But thank you guys for hanging out over there. We got to 10 people, 11 people watching. Oh, we back. Let's get back to this. All right, here we go. Fuck.
tragic death on
What is this shit, dude? You really gonna make me watch ads again because I rewound it 10 seconds, you fuck? Piece of fucking garbage. I used to work at JCPenney, actually. I used to work at JCPenney. I like how I was like, hey guys, thanks. So share the stream out. And then a bunch of people leave. So there you go. You have ads, but you don't pay. If you pay for something, why the fuck are there ads in it in general? It's bullshit. But I don't use ad block because I make money off ads. So I mean, I'm not gonna then use ad block. I feel like that'd be fucked up for me specifically.
$50 million.
Domino's, baby.
Like surprise-free giant lava cakes? Well, just 2 regular-sized lava cakes, but they're still free. Order Domino's delivery online and you might get one of these surprise-frees.
This season,
Hurry the fuck up.
with 25 to 50% off everything. Don't miss the last big sale of the year and celebrate every kiss with K.
Turn off that pesky ad block. That's right, Schnick.
In the month and a half since Helena Hutchins' tragic death on the set of Rust, Alec Baldwin says his life has become a recurring nightmare.
I'm not somebody who has a lot of vivid dreams, but I have dreams about this constantly now. I wake up constantly where guns are going off. These images have come into my mind and kept me awake at night, and I haven't slept for weeks, and I've really been struggling physically.
I haven't slept for weeks, but I have very vivid dreams. It's very crazy if you haven't slept that you're still having dreams, Alec. I don't know.
Exhausted from this because I got to try to be there for my kids, and my family's all I have. I mean, honest to God, I couldn't give up my career anymore.
Is it over?
Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. The entire reason for this interview, as you guys have seen me lay out, that this is clearly a fucking PR stunt. Obviously, this is a fucking PR stunt. And Alec Baldwin is doing this for his career, because you would not do this if you were worried about criminal charges at all. No, this is to try to rehabilitate and set a narrative. And you know what? The mainstream fucking media is going to do exactly that. The mainstream media is going to lap this up and defend Alec Baldwin.
But why? Well, it could be. It could be. If I decide that I mean, could I work? I'm going to go make another movie in January. And I said to them, do you want to get out of it? Do you want to get rid of me? Because of what happened? They said no. But I said to myself, do I want to work much more after this? Is it worth it?
For now, Baldwin is spending much of his time focused on his family, trying to stay out of the public eye.
My kids are in the car crying. I'm just asking. We sat down as a courtesy now to talk to you. Now, please, would you just not follow us for the rest? Just leave us alone.
Just go home.
We gave
Go
you everything
home.
we could possibly give you, okay? All right.
Just as a reminder, just as a fucking reminder for those of you that weren't here earlier in the stream, remember what Alec Baldwin said to these people? We sat down and gave you everything we could. This is what Alec Baldwin said.
I've been ordered by the sheriff's department in Santa Fe. I can't answer any questions about the investigation. I can't. It's an active investigation in terms of a warrant guide.
I've been ordered by the Santa Fe County Sheriffs. I can't say anything. I can't talk to you about the case. It's an investigation. Guess what? There's still a fucking investigation. You admitted that earlier. But now you're talking to the press. You're talking to your buddy George Stephanopoulos. Were you lying then, or are you lying now? Fuck off, Alec Baldwin.
All right. Thank you, Alec.
You mentioned your kids. Have you been able to talk to them about this, or are they too young?
I had to tell my two older kids what happened. Yeah, my wife and I told them what happened, because they're going to go to school, and it's less about what kids say at school than what the parents say at school. I live in New York. I always loved living in New York because it was you were one of many people, and you know, nobody gives who you are really until this happens, and then you're walking down the street. You see a lot of this. Someone hits somebody. They're like, oh, there he is. You see a lot of this with people in a coffee shop.
The fuck was that kind of weird hit?
Go like this. You see a lot of people behaving a certain way.
How do you not internalize that?
Oh, I do. I do. It just has made me sick. But again, I don't want to sound like I'm a victim. I mean, again,
You just got done talking about how you've been affected by this. I'm so physically exhausted, I can't sleep, but I have somehow, even though I can't sleep, I have nightmares and vivid dreams about this. All I can think about is guns going off. Well, as long as you aren't holding the gun, everyone should probably be safe, Alec.
You have two clear victims here.
Is this the worst thing that's ever happened to you?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think back. And I think of what could I have done?
Your emotions are so clearly so right there on the surface. You felt shock. You felt anger. You felt sadness. Do you feel guilt?
No, no. I feel that there is, I feel that.
We got to play that back. Do you feel guilt? No. Immediate answer.
Shock. You felt anger. You felt sadness. Do you feel guilt?
No, no. I feel that there is, I feel that someone is responsible for what happened, and I can't say who that is, but I know it's not me. I mean, I honest to God, if I felt that I was responsible, I might have killed myself if I thought I was responsible. I don't say that lightly.
Baldwin now awaiting the outcome of the sheriff's
Christ.
investigation, hoping whatever it uncovers helps to ensure a tragedy like this never happens again.
What do we come out of?
What an absolute piece of shit. And again, the next part of this, just like it's been the whole time, he's going to shift the focus to where did this bullet come from?
This learning. What do we come out of it? What changes can be made? Because where you have a person, where, as I said, this is 1 in a billion, that someone puts a real bullet in the gun. That never happens. And the idea that a real bullet was in that gun and would come out of that gun and kill that woman, that was not even in the realm of possibility. And that's the thing that they must find out, is who brought bullets onto the set.
She's a wonderful mom and a wonderful wife, and was just a wonderful soul.
Is there anything that he'd like everyone to know about Helena?
Well,
after telling everybody what a close friend she was of yours and how, she was my friend. She was my friend. Feel bad for me. And then in this interview, revealing that you actually had only known her for like a week. You only met her when you came to this set. What do you want people to know about her?
I work with some of the greatest cinematographers. And she was the loveliest woman, one of the loveliest women I've ever worked with. And one of the most professional in terms of her demeanor. After she died, all these statements are made by her friends and things about her, how loved she was and is.
I would have been lucky to have ever done another movie with another person like that, or with her, and I don't get to.
I think it's important to remember that she was as admired as she was loved. That's essential to say that, is that she's someone who people really, really thought, gee, had a great talent.
Minder at Home brings up a great point. But what did you think? He doesn't know her. He doesn't fucking know her. She's not his friend. He even admitted that there was never anything on set other than, hey, how's your day going? All right, let's go. Let's start shooting. That's it. He was not connected to her. He's a lying sack of shit. And I don't think once, the couple times we saw him break down crying, wasn't about Helena Hutchins and her dying. It was about himself and how he's been affected by this. Bro. That is rough right there. Got a couple super chats, guys. Jorge Barracuda for $5. Sup, Ryan? Glad you went over this interview because I don't know that I would have watched it without your commentary, lol. Yeah, I wanted to make sure it happened, and Steph was able to help me out a little bit to make sure it did happen, and I fucked with some settings to actually be able to show this to you guys, and it looks like we're good to go. I was a little worried that maybe just reacting to that, they might try to pull it down or whatever. Luckily, they didn't. Because it is fair use. We're obviously commenting over it. We're transforming it. It is completely fair use, but you never know with these places what they'll do. Valiant Renegade with a couple super chats. What's up, man? For $5, a narcissist and a sociopath. Everything is all about him. Nothing is his fault. No guilt. Nothing. It's fucked up. It is really fucked up. Valiant Renegade again for $5. This is Baldwin trying to shield himself from the civil suit by trying to garner public sympathy. Fell flat as a pancake. I completely agree. And I think that, I said it earlier, but I think it's going to work to a certain respect. To a certain point, I do think it's going to work because I think now the mainstream media has excuses to go with their narrative. The same way that we saw with Kyle Rittenhouse and the narrative the mainstream media, surrounded him with these lies. And the way that so many people were fooled because they had no idea. That's what they're going to try to do with this. They're going to try to establish a narrative that Alec Baldwin is sympathetic, that you should feel bad for him, that no one should be hating on him, that he's the victim. And the mainstream media will push that. It's up to regular people like us to continue to open people's eyes to this garbage. But that is it, guys. Done with the interview. And we're still good on Odyssey as well. So we had a little hiccup with Odyssey. We're dual streaming Odyssey. Had a little bit of a hiccup, but overall, it seems like it went pretty well. So that is a very good thing. Good to hear that because this is what we're going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow for the big show over on the main channel. We're also going to be multi-stream. That's why I wanted to test it out today. Also going to try to do this with some Geeks and Gamers streams in the near future. DW, once they get a gun expert demonstrating how an actual gun work, his lies will fall apart. Yeah. I agree. Thank you, Stetsons. Jesse Smollett. I need to talk about Jesse Smollett for my political channel for sure. Hollywood equals political tribalism. Gonna get away with it. Probably. No Void is surprised Alec didn't blame her and say, why did you allow that bullet to hit you? Lulu, this will get uglier. Yeah, I'm not going to stop talking about it. You guys know that's for damn sure. Juicy Smollett. All right, guys. But I do have some stuff to do. I didn't plan on this going an hour 45 minutes, but it did. We had a good stream. Thank you so much for everybody that showed up. I really appreciate it. Thank you for Steph for modding. Thanks for people over at Odyssey for trying that out as well. And boom, look at that. Subscribe. Thank you, Darl. And yeah, if you guys are new to this channel, please subscribe. We do have a pretty big crowd. For those of you that don't know, I do a live stream on my main channel, Ryan Kinel RK Outpost, 6:30 Eastern every single Sunday. I do have a political channel called Patriot Outpost. I believe there's a link in the comment or in the description below. But if not, just Google it. You'll find it. Thank you, everybody. And I will talk to you later. Peace.